Hi there, David Risley here with blogmarketingacademy.com, and I want to welcome you to the January live public blog case study. Now, in this month, we're actually going to be looking at a nutritional blog called fearlesseating.net that was submitted to me by Craig. Now, Craig comes to us with a pretty respectable traffic and a pretty decent email list. He's not adding a whole lot of email list subscribers to his list on a daily basis. That's something we're going to be talking about. But the other thing that we're going to be talking about here is what he's doing to monetize the site. The big thing about this site is that even though he's bringing in pretty significant traffic levels, he's actually using it doing more of the traditional low-hanging monetization tactics like AdSense and Amazon affiliate links. Now, there is a place for affiliate marketing. I'm not a big fan of what he's doing with the AdSense, and what we're going to be talking about here is actually how he can make significantly more money with the exact same blog he has now, with some design tweaks that we're going to speak about, but with the exact traffic that he has. Because the thing is, he's got a lot of traffic. He's just not utilizing it very effectively in terms of his marketing. So we're going to be talking specifically a little bit about getting one-on-one clients with the blog, and we're going to be talking about how he can sell more of his course, because he actually created a course and he's got a sales letter for it, and he's offering it for $497, but he hasn't made very many sales with it. And he is planning right now to relaunch it with a lower price point, thinking that simply by lowering the price, it's going to sell more. But I want to talk to him about the marketing of that course. So sit back, everybody else can learn from this. Craig, hopefully you will get a lot of different actionable takeaways from this. And from that, let's head over to my screen and let's get started with the video portion of this blog audit. Hello, David Risley here with Blog Marketing Academy. We're going to be doing a quick walkthrough on fearlesseating.net. Now, this is going to be basically a public case study where I'm going to go through this blog and basically just talk out some things that I would change on the site. And it's going to go on the blog post over at blogmarketingacademy.com, which is going to have a lot of written findings that are going to be a lot more digested that Craig can actually apply to this blog. But this video is basically going to be just a walkthrough, and we'll just talk some things out to help him build up his list quicker, talk about a little bit about traffic, talk about tweaking his design a little bit, and how he can make some more sales. So first of all, we're here on the home page. Now, the first thing that strikes me here about this home page is that it's a typical blog and that it has a bunch of the latest posts on here. And it's not going to be super effective in terms of list building. Now, if you compare this to what I've got at the Blog Marketing Academy, that is actually more of what I have in mind. If we just go over to the home page, now, I'm not saying you need to make yours look exactly like mine, but it's the idea behind it. You can see how, and this image is really big here, but it's because I'm on a very large monitor, but it would shrink depending on the size. But the whole idea here is that it's about building the list. I'm not listing out latest posts except for just one. These were all handpicked by me, some highlighted content, and these are some things that people can buy. But the primary thing here is this. You click on it and you get onto my email list. And that's pretty much what I recommend that most people do with their homepage, is to make that homepage focus primarily on building the list rather than this. Because this is just a lot of clutter. Not only do you have a lot of blog posts listed here, but you've got a very, very loaded sidebar. Very loaded sidebar. So that's what I would do. Now, I don't know anything about what theme you're using here. Oh, you're on the Genesis framework. Well, there's definitely a lot that can be done with the Genesis framework. You have to, learn a little bit about how to tweak Genesis, but getting an opt-in here would not be that difficult. Now, looking at Fearless Eating, I like this. What I don't like is your tagline, traditional food for modern times, because here's the thing. This blog is targeting people who are dealing with IBS or digestive issues, or generally they want to eat, I'm assuming eat well, but not upset their digestive problems. And Craig's specialty is that he's a nutritional therapist, and he deals with those types of issues. Now, the thing about this blog is that when you go to it, it does not immediately pop out to me that is what we're targeting. If I had IBS and I came here, I would not immediately think that this site is going to solve my problem, because traditional food for modern times doesn't really mean anything in and of itself. It's kind of cutesy. And then if I see the latest blog posts, like how to make bone broth, how to make chicken and beef stock, that's all great, but it's more like a recipe site. And the thing is, that's not what you're trying to do, Craig, is have a recipe site. You want this site to clearly be about, you're going to solve my problems if I have IBS. And here's the thing. It could be that the chicken and beef stock or bone broth is very helpful to IBS, but I probably don't know that. And your target audience probably doesn't know that. So immediately when they get here, they're just going to think, well, okay, this guy's giving me a broth recipe. Great. They're not interested. They're probably going to leave. So you really need to think about the positioning of the site. I think this tagline needs to be redone in such a way where you are actually clearly showing that you are dealing with IBS and various digestive issues and heartburn and things like that. Your menu, first of all, I think that you could make it a little bit bigger. I think you could probably even make it go full width like this. Obviously, you want to keep these parts in the middle, but have it go full width. It just gives the site a little bit more dimension, in my personal opinion. You can make, excuse me, you can make this a little bit taller and give it a little bit more padding in here, so your menu has a little bit more breathing room. But the other thing about your menu is that I don't think that the menu items that you have in it are all that great in terms of getting people to click on them and navigate. Now, about makes sense. Disclosure and disclaimer in there does not make any sense. You should not be taking up valuable real estate at the top of your site with legal pages like that. They should be linked to in the footer only. Browse. When you click on that, you get a list of categories. Now, I don't think that that's a good way to go. I think you should replace that with the word blog. And here's what you need to do is, being that I'm firmly recommending that you don't list out your latest blog post on the homepage, I think you should have a blog page and link to that. And that would be where you list things out in chronological order like the typical blog. I want to make another comment about your categories. There's a post here that on the blog, and I'll link to it along with the blog post. It has to do with how to target your blog categories around the benefits that your target audience is looking to achieve. Your categories are not like that. In fact, you've got too many of them, and they're more like little filing cabinets, like this, like coffee, butter. That's great, but these are not benefit-driven categories. And I think that there's a lot of power in repositioning your categories such that each one speaks to a benefit that they're looking to achieve. And you, knowing your market, would know what those benefits are. But I think you could definitely do a little bit better with the post categories here. All right, heartburn ebook. Again, it's very blah in what you're calling it. It's like, what is inviting me to click on that? Heartburn ebook. I mean, the other thing too is when I go to it, let me see here. Oh, okay, there's the ebook. Maybe it was this that I clicked on, the resources. Let's see. Okay, great. Now, these are resources that go inside your ebook, and that's fine. But I think you should probably not list them on your site, at least publicly. I think you should remove it from the nav bar so that the only way they can get to it is via your ebook. Now, let me go back to the ebook. So here's the thing, these drop-down menus in a top nav are not very user-friendly. I'm generally not a fan of using drop-down navigation in a menu. But let me go back to your, come on, you can do it. Okay, here we go. All right, so it's the first 4 chapters free. The 30-day heartburn solution. Not a bad headline. It does speak to the idea that there's going to be a solution here, a benefit here, and that it's something finite, like there's something, a step-by-step thing. And I assume that's what your book is going to be. Let's see. Okay, what are you selling this thing for? 25 bucks. Okay. I don't know what your sales are like on this ebook. The one thing that strikes me here is that you've got an awful lot of text here, and it's not super targeted on the offer. I think you should probably think about redoing this on a more traditional sales letter template. Use something like Lead Pages, which I know you have an account to, or Optimize Press would probably do you a little bit better, make it look more professional. And you don't have to have a design degree to do that stuff because all that stuff is built right in. And you can make this look really good. There's definitely something to be said for aesthetics when it comes to making an offer. People do judge the book by its cover, so to speak, and they're also going to judge this based on your sales letter. And you don't have much of a headline here. It's just kind of like the title of the book, and that's it. And the text is a little bit small. It's not really positioned as a very good sales letter, to be honest with you. Okay. Under subscribe, let's go to subscribe here. Okay, so here's my problem with subscribe. You've got too many things to do. First of all, this should be a classic squeeze page. If you go into Lead Pages, Optimize Press, or any of these landing page solutions, you will see that they've got squeeze pages that are very, very well focused on the opt-in. What you've got here is a very cluttery system with all the top nav and this very cluttered sidebar. In the content area, you've got 2 opt-in offers. You're forcing the person to choose what they want. And you've got the comment form down here. It's just too many things to do. So you need to give them one thing. I would get rid of subscribe. I would probably not do it that way. I would give them a gift for opting in. So this is probably the better one. Now there's definitely some things that we could do with the copy to make that more compelling. But this one should probably go away and get rid of the comment form and really narrow this thing down to get people onto your list. All right, and we'll talk about the course here in a little bit. Now, let me talk about your sidebar. I've mentioned a couple times now that it's real cluttery, and it certainly is. You mentioned that one of the things you want to do is get more people on your list. I think you said you were only doing about 6 opt-ins per day, and yet your numbers show that you were doing over 1,000 people a day. So it's a pretty low opt-in rate. But the thing is, if we look at your sidebar, look at how far down your first opt-in is. And in fact, and I say first because I notice you have 2 of them. So once again, you're making people make a choice there. You're offering them this 4 free chapters. This headline is difficult to read, by the way, this blue. Not a fan of that. But then you got this digestive health video series. I mean, which one is the person supposed to get here? It's just 2 things. I think you need to choose one, and you need to test which one is converting better. And you need to put that in your sidebar. And not only that, you need to put it at the top of your sidebar. Get rid of this big banner ad. Get rid of this big banner ad. Get rid of that big banner ad. Put the opt-in at the top, because you're going to sell all this stuff a hell of a lot better once they're on your list than trying to get impulse clicks in the sidebar. And that's essentially what you're doing. It's the same exact mentality as you have in the store checkout line at the grocery store, where they'll put potato chips and, you know, various candies there. They're doing that because they're trying to get you to make an impulse purchase because, hey, it's cheap, it's there, I want it, whatever. But what you're doing in your sidebar is you're trying to go for the impulse click. It's almost like they might click on this, but you're not going to get nearly as much leverage if they click on that and then if they actually opted into your list. In fact, I went to this, and it's basically a big page with a bunch of affiliate links on it. And I know you're making some money with Amazon, but it's going to be far more effective getting them onto your email list. So this needs to be up at the top. These, if you're going to even keep them, move them far down, but I would get really laser focused on what you're putting into your sidebar here. Get rid of the video, by the way. I think it's a good authority play. But I think that you can use this in a better way than having it on every single page on your sidebar. You know, have a section here where you've been mentioned in the press, for example. I don't know what show this was, but that's a good authority thing, and you can utilize it, just not there. This is a banner ad, I would imagine. Yep, so get rid of it. Get rid of the featured post. and get rid of that banner ad. I know you've got banner ads on here, and I know you said you were making a couple $100 a month on the ads, but it's not worth it. It really detracts from the business stuff that you could do with this site. I would get rid of all the banners, quite frankly. Okay, I clicked over to one of the blog posts, at least as of the time I'm recording this. This is the most recent post. Now, just so a few notes about this post. First of all, the image is fine. I'm not a super big fan of this because I think there's more effective ways to do it. I think if you had a really nicely designed opt-in at the top of your sidebar, it would sort of take care of this problem. At the end of the day, listing out opt-in offers inside of a blog post is a good idea, but because you've got it in this little box and it's repeated on every single post, it's easy to really go blind to it. And not only that, you're again asking them to do two things at the same time. You're giving them two calls to action here, and that's confusing. You only need to give people one call to action. You need to be consistent about it. The other thing is that once we get below this image, you've got an ad right there. And on almost every single blog post, the ad is too big for the post. It gets cut off over here by the sidebar. Now, I just don't think you should have an ad there at all. I think it's a bad place to have an ad. Scrolling down a little bit, you got another ad in there. It's just not worth it. You're really overloading it, and this is very detracting from what you're trying to do, and it's not worth the couple $100, in my opinion. Now, I do like the fact that your blog posts are easy to read. I'm not reading it here, but I'm noticing you're using short paragraphs, you're using subheadlines. You're using images. Well, that's another banner. Geez, we're overdoing it on the banners. But here's an image that I know is yours. But I like the way the blog posts are put together. Just I'm not a big fan of injecting so many banners in there. You got way too many of them. Okay. Now this is good, and you're doing the same thing that I do, which is what I call content upgrades. It's the idea of giving them something at the end of the post to take that blog post a little bit further. And if you make it very targeted to what they just read, the opt-in rate can be really good. And if you click on this, we're using lead boxes, which I think is very, very effective. I think lead boxes is a great tool for many, many bloggers. Almost all of them, quite frankly. This probably does the same thing. Great. I don't think we need to have these big images. I think I've noticed this on a few of your blog posts. You had a really big image in there, inviting people to pin it. I mean, if people are actually using this, great. Otherwise, I find it to be a little distracting. Because the thing is, if you're going to put well, at least you've got the call to action above it, but this is a really effective call to action. You've got it formatted in a very nice way. It also, is this the same? Let's see. You got two different calls to action at the end of this post. So here's what I'm seeing here is you get down to the end of the post and we got one call to action here, another call to action here, which is to pin something. Quite frankly, this is another call to action. And then you've got this call to action. And then you've got this one, which looks like the one I've got, which is fine. So basically, you're putting 5 calls to action at the end of this blog post. It's kind of like the Christmas tree effect. It's just you're looking for the impulse click. And there's too many things. Now, if you go to mine, I've got this kind of idea. In fact, I'll let you in. I'm thinking about even getting rid of this button that you got from my site. I'm thinking about getting rid of it. And the only reason I'm keeping it there right now is because I don't have content upgrades all throughout my blog. I mean, it's not something that I've always been doing. So I have a lot of posts back in the archives of the Blog Marketing Academy where I don't have a content upgrade. But the content upgrades are by far the most effective way to build your list. You have a content upgrade here. And you've got one up here too. So really, I don't think that you should have this button in these situations because it contradicts this one. This one is much better formatted. I like the way that you've got it laid out a lot better. So if this is a one that you created unique for this blog post, I really don't know. It probably, yeah, this is the eating guides, stocks, and soup. This is very related to this blog post. If you made a box like this one that had to do with that, it would probably convert well. But the thing is too, you need to not bury it underneath this big pennant thing. We've got to move this or something because it's very detracting from the main call to action, which is to get people onto your list. All right, let's talk a little bit about your online course. Now, this is a much better way to make money with this site than what you're trying to do right now with the Amazon affiliate links and banner ads. Now, I'm not saying that you should cut out the Amazon affiliate stuff, but I am kind of leaning in the direction of getting rid of the AdSense banners and concentrating more on what's going to build your business in the long run. Now, the two things that pop up to me, and I'll mention this in the blog post. One is that you originally said that your intention with this site was to get more one-on-one clients, but then you learned how to I forgot the way you phrased it, but you used the word learned how to monetize your blog in other ways. But the thing is, when I look at your site, the way that you're monetizing that blog is via affiliate links and AdSense, which is the typical low-hanging fruit that most bloggers use. And the thing is, it's based on bad advice. A lot of the quote-unquote gurus of blogging out there recommend doing stuff like that, and it's just bad advice. Because if you think like a big boy in terms of really building a business around this, you can monetize and make money like crazy with this site. You've got a lot of traffic coming to the site here. You are a nutritional therapist offline in real life. So why not use this blog to get more clients? Now, I don't know if the people that you see that you're seeing in person, but you can probably very easily do remote consulting where you're doing it over the phone with them. So I think you can definitely use this site to get more one-on-one clients. Now, it should probably be by way of getting people onto a webinar. Then the call to action on that webinar would be to get them onto a free strategy session. And then from there, you sell them into your offer. I think that will be a very effective funnel, and you can actually make higher end sales than you'll ever do otherwise. Now, the other thing that you've got is this course. Now, you mentioned that you had gone through another course out there on how to make courses, and you followed their advice to the T. You ended up charging $497 for this, and that it basically did not do very well. Now, and this is that sales letter. It's fearlessdigestion.com. Now, and I skimmed it over, and of course, at the end, we do have, there it is, $497 one-time payment. Now, Craig mentioned that he was thinking about relaunching this a little bit later in the year, but with a significantly lower price point. He was advised to have a higher price point on it. He did so and did not sell as much. So I just wanted to make a few comments about this, is that I don't think necessarily the problem is your price. That is definitely something that you need to test. That being said, there's definitely more that could be done with how you present the offer. I've not seen your training material, but when I'm looking at this sales page, I don't know what advice you were going down, but the big thing that strikes me here is that it's focused way too much on the course. And basically what I mean by that is you're concentrating too much on the features. Most of this sales letter is all about these modules here. And I don't think the sales letter or the video goes nearly enough into the emotional aspect of this target audience. What are they struggling with? What really making them feel it? Make them really value a solution to that problem more than they do the few $100s you're asking them to pay. It should not be about what they're going to get in terms of modules and videos and what you have here, like printable 24-page thing, printable guides, 50 recipes. These things don't matter because it's just content. It's just content. And the thing is, content, the internet is inflated on content right now. People are not going to pay for more content. They're going to pay for a solution. The content is just a means to an end. And what I think that you're doing here is you're not concentrating nearly enough on that solution and what that solution is going to look like for them, and some of the how-to, not the step-by-step how-to, but like the bird's eye view of how you're going to get them there, how you're going to guide them through that transition, why they should listen to you as opposed to somebody else. These are all things that need to be focused on more. And I think the big one is that emotion. Really hit them hard in terms of, quite frankly, aggravating their ruin. I mean, really, these guys who are going to be investing this are going to be, their life is really affected by having these digestive issues or ongoing heartburn or IBS. It's an annoying thing. They can't go out in public, or they probably can, but they can't go to a restaurant without fear of having to go to the toilet afterward, or, you know, all the typical emotional things that bother people that have long-term IBS. Well, you got to hit those things. And you stated it a little bit in your video, but it's very understated on here. Most of this is about your modules and your features of your thing. And I think that's probably the biggest thing about the way the offer is done. The other thing too is I come to fearlessdigestion.com and I'm immediately given an offer. I think you would be far better suited to do an evergreen launch on this, where this page should be a squeeze page where they're opting in for an extremely targeted lead magnet, dealing directly with IBS and really hitting their ruin. And then you guide them through a small launch sequence. It's going to be done on an autoresponder sequence. It can be done over a series of videos, maybe just 2 or 3 videos. It doesn't have to be super long. But the whole thing is basically a pre-launch. And then at the end of that, you can maybe get them onto a webinar or something like that. And there is where you sell the course and you present the $497, not directly. I think you're going to have a lot better conversions by doing it this way, because they're going to be sold on this over time. You can spend a lot more time hitting those emotional things and giving them some aha moments by way of some of your teaching, but not sitting there just saying, yeah, these are my modules 1 through 8. You're going to get access to a 24-page printable thing. It's too feature driven right now. And that, I think, is why this thing did not sell very well. I don't think the problem is necessarily your price. I think it's more of an offer issue and how it's been presented. The other thing too is put more of you in here. For $497, are they getting some access to you? Or are you going to guide them through something? The other thing is having some urgency. Now, this can be done much better when they're on your webinar, but you need to have something that's going to motivate them to take action right away. Having this thing always out in the open like this with the $497 is just asking for no conversions. And that's exactly what you're getting right now, is no conversions. Instead, you need to run them through a launch sequence, do some marketing to them, and then when they're presented with the offer, you got to have that sense of urgency. They've got to act soon. Maybe you're really, once all that lead up, you present them with the $497, or even present it for a higher price point than that, but say, if you're on this call right now, you can get it for $497, or you can reduce those prices a little bit. But the thing is, you've got to give them that deadline. You got to give them that urgency, especially with learning products. Very often people will not buy them unless they are given a deadline to do so. Okay, but you can build all this into your marketing and you can sell this thing. So those are the 2 big areas of opportunity I see for you. One is getting more one-on-one clients, and secondly is really getting your marketing down right for this course. I'm assuming your course is probably really good. It's just that on the outside, the marketing falls flat. And I can't imagine that the course you went through said, just put up a sales letter flat like this and price it high and people will buy. It seems to me like you probably skipped some steps there, but I don't really know everything that he said. All right, so anyway, that's my quick walkthrough to go along with the blog post. This is for Craig over at fearlesseating.net. I think you're sitting on a really potential profit thing here. I think that you can make some serious money with this. IBS is a really good niche. In fact, I've got another reader in the audience that I worked with, a friend of mine, and she is in the exact same market, and she has done really well for herself. And she was, last I heard, she was making consulting, she wasn't calling it that, but basically selling $1,000 a pop products, but doing it via strategy sessions, like I mentioned earlier. And this is in the IBS market, and it can work out really, really well. You just got to do it right. You got to stop chasing the low-hanging fruit like AdSense and Amazon. Keep the Amazon in the places that make sense, but don't do it in such a way where it detracts from the more important things, like getting people on your list, maybe presenting them with a front-end offer, which is designed to get more buyers on your list. I think your ebook can do that. In fact, you might even want to explore offering that ebook for something cheaper, just to get more buyers on your list. But then as soon as they're on that list, they become a prospect for your course. And they need to be on that launch sequence and autoresponder form to get them into your course.
Okay, so that was a lot of actionable stuff that can be applied to fearlesseating.net. The big thing for everybody else who is looking to monetize is I want you to really realize the true power of a blog when it's utilized as part of your marketing funnel. A lot of bloggers don't think about it this way. They think of it in terms of affiliate links and banner ads, which is exactly what Craig has been doing. The thing is, that's the low-hanging fruit. If it's as easy as going and getting a little tag from Google and putting it on your site, you also know that everybody else and their entire family is probably doing it too, and therefore the income is not going to be very high unless you've got a lot of traffic. The thing is, with the traffic levels that Craig has, he could do significantly more income if he actually built a business behind it. Now that's the thing. I don't know your offline business, Craig, but I'm pretty sure you've got an offline business as a nutritional therapist. So I think that you got the business. We just got to link the two things together and make the blog more effective. But that is the true power of blogging as a marketing vehicle. The title of my site is Blog Marketing Academy. So this is where it's at. If you utilize the blog in the right way, you can make significantly more money. And this is a much smarter way to monetize a blog. The AdSense and stuff is for everybody else. I mean, there's those guys that they're just not going to make that much money. But you, if you know better, can make a lot more than them. And they're going to be all wondering how the hell you're making money because they're not going to see any banner ads on your site, but yet you're still making good coin. That's how. It's all the stuff that you don't see on the blog. The trained eye can see it, but those guys won't be able to see it, and you're going to be doing things the right way. So anyway, hopefully you got a lot out of that, Craig. My name's again David Risley. If you would like to get a blog audit on your site, click on the link below this so you can get some more information on how to book yours and get onto my schedule soon, okay? Talk to you later.